And thank you so much for staying with Morning Live. Now, the economic freedom fighters will seek legal advice that will force President Cyril Ramaphosa to act against Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan. This week, Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane accused the president of failing to uphold the constitution by not taking disciplinary action against Gordhan. Now, her investigation found that he wrongfully approved the early retirement of former SARS Deputy Commissioner Ivan Pillay. So, to discuss this and other issues further, we're joined by Gordhan, Secretary General of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you, Ms. Aquina.
Let's start there with the Public Protector and her findings. And earlier this week, that was, of course, one of the big stories where she held that the president has failed to uphold the constitution by not taking action against Pravin Gordhan. So now, I have to ask, is this once again a case of my enemy's enemy is my friend with regard to the Public Protector? Because the EFF is now indicating that you will seek legal advice in order to try and force this particular matter for the president to uphold or implement the findings of the Public Protector. But not so long ago, you were not too hot on the Public Protector as the EFF. You contended she wasn't fit for office or that she wasn't suitable to hold office. So what has changed?
Well, Ms. Aquina, the fact of the matter here is that the law is the law. In terms of the Nkandla judgment at the Constitutional Court, the remedial actions recommended by a Public Protector are binding until set aside by a court. Otherwise, they are effective. So the president has got a duty to uphold the Constitution and respect the determinations of a Chapter 9 institution. And in this particular instance, the president has actually failed to do what is expected of him. He's supposed actually to do exactly what is expected of him to effect the remedial actions of the Public Protector, because Mr. Pravin Gordhan or himself failed to interdict the implementation. So we've got the case law from the highest court of the land, and he just has to do that.
So, obviously, the presidency releasing a statement as well yesterday saying that, you know, the president has applied his mind to this particular situation, and the fact that the Pravin Gordhan, of course, has decided to take this matter on review, and therefore he feels that he will wait for that process to be concluded before he acts. You're saying he's erroneous in his interpretation there?
He should have done the same thing with Tom Moyane, who took into review the findings of the Nguyen Commission. He should have done the same thing with Advocate Mohwebi and Jiba, who also took into review the recommendations of the Mohweri Morocco Commission. This is a Chapter 9 institution. It's not even a commission that is just established by a president. So it cannot just ignore a remedial action of a Chapter 9 institution and just effect recommendations of a commission that he just willy-nilly established. The president is actually very wrong in this particular instance. Actually, it's an assault to the Chapter 9 institution, and it's disrespectful to his oath of office and the Constitution.
So, of course, many South Africans sitting thinking, well, is this really about the president and, you know, the Public Protector and not upholding the Constitution, or is this about the EFF and seeming axe to grind with Minister Pravin Gordhan?
Not at all. We have been very consistent that the office of the Public Protector must actually be respected. It doesn't matter who is the incumbent, it doesn't matter who is in office, but it is a Chapter 9 institution established in terms of the Constitution of the country, and we shall always remain consistent to that effect.
As for the incumbent in that office, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, do you still believe that she's not suitable to hold that office?
Well, it doesn't matter, and it matters not whether she is suitable or not. The fact of the matter is that Parliament recommended her to the President, and the President appointed her, and she is the incumbent, and she is in charge of that office, and that office must be respected. As to whether it's not about how you feel, it's about what the Constitution say in relation to that office.
And I hear you, but quite apart from the issues, quite apart from the cases that are being dealt with, the person of Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane as the public protector, you concurred with the DA and others that perhaps she's not suitable to hold office as the public protector.
We have passed that.
Do you still believe that to be the case?
We have passed that moment. It was debated in Parliament. We cannot go back to it. We lost the debate in Parliament. We must stick to the principle and the resolutions of the Parliament and the President. Do you still believe that
Busisiwe Mkhwebane is fit to be the public protector of South Africa?
We believe that the office is properly managed, and it should actually do its work and be allowed to do its work. It must be protected, and the public protector's office must actually be protected.
So you're not going to answer my question, evidently. So we're going to move on to other questions. So how far are you willing to go to compel President Cyril Ramaphosa to implement the findings of the public protector?
Well, we're taking legal advice. We are in touch with senior counsel and advocates to check what are the options available. Can we go directly to the Constitutional Court for direct access to actually put to certainty the issues around the remedial actions of the protector, the effect of their binding until they are being set aside. You will agree with me, Ms. Akina, that there is a difference between an appeal and a review. An appeal sets aside a sentence or a determination of a court. However, a review does not set aside a sentence or a determination by a tribunal. It remains effective up until the court has decided otherwise. And in this particular instance, we are weighing our options.
Right. Just going with some of the utterances from yesterday's press conference, given what we're dealing with in South Africa at the moment, we currently have the Zondo Commission looking into allegations of possible state capture. Your leader, Julius Malema, yesterday talking about some of the company that the president keeps. He mentions in particular Stephen Kosef of Investec, who seems to accompany the president on all trips. You talk about the Rothschilds and the sort of influence that they may be wielding against government across the spectrum. So do you believe that the president is captured?
Well, let us see the list of the donors of the 400 million rand for his presidential ambition in the ANC. And then we compare the list, the names that appear in the list, to the role of the people who appear in that list. And then we shall know. The president must just come out and say, this is the list of the people who donated 400 million rand, and then the rest shall follow. Because if the Investec CEO and the managing directors and shareholders of Investec actually are in the top 10 of that list, then we shall know what is actually happening in South Africa. We will know how ISCOM is being unbundled, because that comes actually from the documents of Investec. Then we'll know that actually we don't have a president. The president is actually a puppet. Actually the president is captured. The state is captured. Let us see the list of the 400 million rand donors.
So are you suggesting that the president is captured?
Well, we will never know until the list is actually made public. The president just has got to do the honorable thing and make the list available and public and be very open and take South Africa into confidence.
But that is obviously your suspicion, given what the EFF has been saying.
Well, not necessarily, but it's just the right thing to be done by the first citizen of the country, to be very transparent and open and take the country and the nation into confidence.
Let's talk about what is suggested to be a new strategy for the EFF with regard to municipalities, where one of the things that was mentioned in your press briefing yesterday was that you would no longer be voting with either the DA or the ANC. So why not?
Well, we are approaching 2021. We actually want to be in government in 2021 in all the 213 municipalities, which is actually 205 local municipalities and 8 metros. Voters and citizens will be asking us, what is your experience of governance? Have you governed before? Why do you want to govern now? And we can only answer that question if we have actually been in government and actually participated in core governance. And in this particular instance, we want to go to 2021 having had an experience of being in government as a MACO member, MMC member of infrastructure, MMC member of social development, and MMC for transport, and all this and that, having been a speaker and having been a mayor. And that is doable.
So what has changed? Because not so long ago, the EFF said that you were not doing this, you didn't want positions. You know, you were quite happy that the electorate, you know, didn't deliver enough votes for you as the EFF, that you don't necessarily want those leadership positions. So what has changed now? Is this sour grapes about not getting the mayorship position for the city of Tshwane?
Ms. Sakina, in 2016, August the 3rd, we took a decision immediately after the elections that we are going to assist any political party except the ANC to govern in any municipality where the votes of the EFF are needed. And we did that with the IFP in KZN. We did that with the Residents Association in Metsimahulu and somewhere else in Limpopo. We did that with the UDM in Nelson Mandela Bay. We did that with the DA in other municipalities. 2 years down the line, immediately after the 2009 elections, we had to discuss this matter as a central command team, as leadership of the EFF, and we came to a determination that it's high time that we govern with any other party that is with us anywhere in this part of the country.
Did you want to have the position of mayor in the city of Tshwane?
Oh, definitely, yes. That is not even a secret. We made it very open, and we took the country into confidence that let them keep Joburg, and then let us be in charge of the capital city, the political capital city, where the executive and the union buildings is found, and be in charge of that space, so that you have a president who is actually a president in the capital city of the opposition. So
failure to do that has triggered this divorce, as it were?
Well, it's not necessarily divorce because there was no marriage. It's about Kamina Kawena. Let us share. Keep Joburg, we shall keep Tshwane. And if they don't want, well, I foresee an election rerun looming, because as we do not vote, we don't know whether, but you can't tell, because the ANC can actually vote with the DA. They've always voted together in parliament many a times. And in this particular instance, we may see the ANC voting with the DA and the ANC keeping the DA in power.
What about a city like Johannesburg, where you seem to have a very cordial relationship as the EFF with the executive mayor, Herman Mashaba? Is he going to become collateral damage in all of this?
Most likely, he will be the victim of circumstances. We can't help it, but the fact of the matter is that he must speak to his political party to come to its senses.
So the strategy moving forward, finally, in municipalities, are you going to collapse these municipalities, because the councils will collapse if you, in certain instances, simply do not vote?
No. We are not going to collapse any municipalities. We are not going to collapse any municipality. The voters have spoken. And in the circumstances, that is the government they have. And there's no party that has got absolute majority. So it means the voters have actually collapsed the government. And who knows, the ANC and the DA may vote together. They can form an absolute majority government in all the municipalities. Let's give it a try and see what they do. But we can tell that the white monopoly capital that is controlling both the ANC and the DA will definitely merge in this particular time.
Gordhan, that's all we have time for. Thanks so much, Secretary General of the Economic Freedom Fighters, unpacking the party's media briefing that was held yesterday and just clarifying some of those points for us. Brings us up to 7 o'clock, time for your latest news.